Okay.
Looking back at the whole catalog of Harry Potter video games over the years, we run into some irregularities. The Hogwarts Castle is quite the pop culture icon, but ironically is wildly inconsistent in its portrayal. For the release of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, there were 5 totally different versions of the game released across 8 platforms and built totally independently from each other. This ended up being a theme for most Harry Potter movie tie-in games released, causing all sorts of variations on Hogwarts Castle, and we're totally ignoring the LEGO games here. Now, this was mostly a side effect of crazy timelines, huge expectations, just a ton of platform sprawl being between different console generations at the time, and just trying to keep everything a secret. If they wanted any source material from the set of the film, which was being shot at the same time, or any approvals regarding design decisions, they had to go through Warner Bros., who obviously held these massive expectations on their multi-billion-dollar franchise. In an interview with Christo Vucetic on Flandreau's channel, he mentions that his team, who worked on the PC version, could only reference blurry photos and some handwritten notes, which were taken on set to design the castle for their game. When the film released in 2001, the devs and fans alike were able to see the magic of Hogwarts Castle for the first time. Ironically, the game for the PC and console had already been completed for their release 2 days later and portrayed very different castles. For the Chamber of Secrets, they finally had solid reference material for the in-game castle, but only a year to build a whole new game. The only way this was going to be even remotely feasible was if they reused many in-game assets from the first, which they absolutely did. Since the castle is obviously a huge asset and would take months to remodel, texture, and test, they continue using their design under the reasoning that their game was more derived from the books than the movies at this point. The Prisoner of Azkaban gave more time between releases, allowing for the castle to largely be rebuilt to bear more similarities to how it is portrayed in the film. We start seeing new archways, tiling, windows, and other details similar to the films, yet certain key rooms were left without remodeling and largely the same as the previous 2 games. The Goblet of Fire games majorly cut down on the amount of free roaming in the castle, so it kinda dodged this issue and caught some major flack for it. But it wasn't without some noteworthy additions in respect to Hogwarts. My biggest point here is that during the Horntail chase, Harry flies through the castle exterior, which is movie accurate to the film miniature of Hogwarts, which is really quite cool in my opinion. The Order of the Phoenix returned to free roaming with a vengeance after the poor reception of Goblet of Fire for straying from this formula. The castle became more accessible than ever with way more detail, hidden doorways, the works. Out of every game we've seen thus far, this version of Hogwarts is the most precise in its execution and consistency to the interior of the castle seen in the films. No matter what, however, there will always be some off-screen areas where the designs add in some creative liberties. With the Half-Blood Prince, Hogwarts Castle doesn't change here really in any significant way. Maybe some textures got upscaled and so forth, but no big design changes. The Deathly Hallows Part 1 literally doesn't even feature the castle at all, which is bizarre, but Part 2 does. Spoiler, it's completely destroyed. Given the messy track record of Hogwarts design, it begs the question, will Hogwarts Legacy be the first to get the castle right? The trailers have certainly been impressive and showcased the absolute best secrets of the castle, not to mention the common rooms. Gryffindor is just as we remember from the films, as is Slytherin. But for Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, this is our first glimpse as to how those will appear. But between the films and all these movie tie-in games, who's to say what's right and what's wrong? At the end of the day, everyone involved in the creative process of bringing Hogwarts to life based on the source material of the original books have done a spectacular job, with the wizarding world being an absolute cultural treasure. I hope you enjoyed this brief review of Hogwarts Castle and its history in regards to the movie tie-in games of yesteryear. I'm looking forward to exploring this new Hogwarts Castle when Legacy comes out.